Because even if I wanted to worry about how he responds to some of these things, he'll be on the next flight to another country.
Yes.
And then the pilot will be told, anza ku-reverse, enda kuchukua jacket.
I don't know if you're going to
I'm going to another country. The president of Malawi, you know me, I like responding to what is important for Kenyans.
That's it.
The president of Malawi has started by cancelling all his international trips. In fact, he told ministers when he was doing his state of address, nation address, he's told all his ministers who were abroad and any government official who was abroad to cut their trip short and immediately come back to Malawi. Because you start austerity from home. What we are being told is about 120,000 people who are being involved in housing and construction.
Yes.
Watu wa mjengo kwani walipo pesa ngapi per day? If you were to take that 120,000 and probably multiply by 500 shillings, you'd be surprised. It's probably 6 million shillings a day. How much is being spent on one presidential flight in a day? What we are being blinded from facing the truth. The truth is that a lot of money is being wasted by this administration.
Yes.
And we are always being directed. And that's why sometimes you ask me questions and you wonder whether I'm responding to your question. It's because Kenyans have been conditioned to think in a particular way, and I have refused to think like that. Take 120,000 people, watu wa mjengo, pay them 500 shillings per day, na hii rate ilikuwa ya kazi mtaani ama hizo nani analipa Sakaja. For the people who are cleaning our mitaros, wanatoa uchafu hapa wanaweka ndio kukinyesha irudi, ndio kesho warudi watoe. And then it's never moved from there.
But you've observed that.
That is 6 million shillings a day. How much is fuel for the presidential jet for one trip? So if there are 120,000 people working, and if they are earning roughly 6 million a day,
yes,
the government is wasting twice or thrice that on one trip. You saw when we were planting trees, a minister leaving Nairobi to go and plant a tree in Mombasa, one tree worth 50 shillings or 100 shillings on a flight, and then coming back, and then collectively 2 ministers have spent 3 million planting 4 trees. This is the kind of nonsense that needs to stop in this country, because these are the people who, and then you are told things that are not making sense. Today, you wanted to spend 70 billion building houses. Who told you we need them? Let's start here. What Kenya needs is classrooms. Go to any school, any government school, watoto wako 100 kwa class. The government has set the rate of 788,000 shillings as the cost of building one classroom. So with 70 billion that we wanted to collect from this housing maneno shenanigans, that 70 billion, if you were to divide, I think we would have not less than 840,000 classrooms built in this country. Mm-hmm. And if you multiply that by 50 students per class, yes, at least 4 million children, yes, would have their lives affected positively. Go to any national school today. My son is in a national school. It's a mess. Some of those kids are sleeping in libraries. And you're here telling nani hana kwao. You're here telling people unawajengea nyumba. What we first need is to fix the basics. And one of the basics that we need is classrooms. Schools need toilets. They need dormitories. We need that.
Yes.
And if that was being directed to that, it would have a bigger and better impact on this country than that. And now we are here discussing housing. We are forgetting something more critical that is happening. Watoto mtu anapewa marks mpaka ukifanya basic mathematics, what you got in the 5 subjects you add, the total is different. What is wrong with, in fact, NET should be disbanded. I'm glad some children have gone to court. Can you imagine a point where children are getting to a place they're saying, this government is so incompetent that even primary school children are suing this government? Have you ever heard anywhere in the world where primary school children are suing their government for incompetence? Hawawezi hesabu marks. Somebody is being paid and they cannot total 5 subjects. They cannot give you the correct total. Unakuta shule watoto wamepata equal marks. It is so painful that we are playing with the lives of our children and discussing big projects like infrastructure. Stop construction of houses if you cannot mark KCPE. Mtoto anasoma 8 years and then an adult cannot add their totals properly. Alafu nakuta watoto wamefuatana waine wameandikiwa 384 and they got different marks in all the different subjects, but it's totaling to 384. And they are put there and iko na muhuri mpaka ya neck. shamelessly, na inapeanwa na huyo mtoto, that's their future. I am glad that a child has moved to court.
Yes.
And I pray that the court will stop Form 1 selection.
Yes.
And I pray that we bring back Matiang'i if we have to. Or the late Nani, I wish we could resurrect him and start streamlining our education system. Because when you are playing with the lives of your own children, and then you're telling them of big infrastructure projects, wataenda kuishi huko vipi? And now they can't go to high school. Okay, 1.4 million of them have finished primary. How many high school opportunities are available? Wale wanamaliza ni 900,000. There's a gap of 500,000 classes that we need to fill before we start building. And that's why I came from telling you, I don't want to think the way they are telling us. I have to come up and introduce a new way of thinking. What does this nation need? Sasa hiyo sasa wale wamemaliza form 4 walikuwa wamefanyiwa hesabu, and I thank God hiyo hesabu ilianguka. Very simple maths. 900,000 children finished form 4. Correct. Wakaenda step 2. I wish Professor George Saitoti was alive. You know, he was a mathematician. Yes. Step 2. 900,000 students times 1,000 shillings for ID, because they are all 18, equals 900 million, close to a billion. I thank God Kenyans have said wrong. And we are not going to charge our children 1,000 shillings for an ID because they've just finished for. Akona pesa gani isipokuwa huyu mzazi mwenye analipa housing levy, and our funny courts that are also telling them that they will continue paying until January again. It's Kenyans, and I thank God I live in my ward. I live with Kenyans, and we have conversations every day, and people are not happy. So what we want to hear is a different conversation from what politicians want us to talk about.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Good. Gentlemen, I want us to move from this particular issue here, but then there's also another one here that is essentially also tied to the rulings that the courts made yesterday, Chief, which was also another big project for President Dr. William Ruto.